computer. Hola. So I'm just waiting for it to come on then, yeah. Okay, so hola, soy yo, Vicky, otra vez. And today we're going to, I'm going to talk to one of my students, or one of my former students, Pablo, or Paul, also known as Paul.
Hola, buenos días.
And he's going to tell us about his experiences in Spain and learning Spanish and the meaning of life and anything else that might come up in this little conversation. And you may remember Paul's wife Beverly, who did a podcast with me last year, and well, that's Paul's wife. So Paul, or Pablo, your first question, where do you live and where are you from?
We live in Ciudad Quesada in Valencia here, and I used to live in.
Cool.
Are you still there?
I'm still here. Don't worry. Carry on. Something. It was just.
Yeah, and I used to live in England, in London, and then I moved down to the south coast in Sussex.
Okay, so which part of London did you live in?
Oh, northwest London. So best landmark was Wembley Stadium. It was about 5 miles from there.
Okay. So, and then you moved to the southwest, did you say?
Southeast, down to East Sussex.
East Sussex, okay.
Yeah, down to best landmark there again would be Tunbridge Wells. It's about a mile. We was in a little village. Just outside Tunbridge Wells.
So a bit of a difference then from northwest London or where?
Oh God, yeah. It was a real big difference because it was like it's like almost like a TV series because you just knew everybody and everybody knew you. In London, it's huge, you know, obviously, and you got your set of friends, but community in the small community, it was quite nice. I enjoyed myself there as it goes. It's quite nice.
I think there's pluses and minuses of small communities, isn't there? Like there is of living in big cities. Like I live in a small village here, and there's lots of lovely things about it. But also there's drawbacks because I was born in Manchester and lived in Manchester a long time. So there's good things about living in a city. You know, we can't have it all, I suppose.
Well, no, that's true enough. I mean, living in the city was like you could get anything you wanted, you know, even if you wanted a gearbox for a Ford Cortina in the middle of the night, you could get one. You could just go to a shop and it'd be open. Obviously, in village life, everything closed down at 10 o'clock and that was it. If you didn't have it, you just didn't have it. That was the end of that. Yeah,
it's a learning curve, isn't it? So yeah, sometimes I miss that city life, but having said that, then if I do go back and experience it again, then I can't wait to get back to sort of sleeping time
That's
together.
how I found it as well. Let me put my glasses on. Get a bit Oh, Vicky, it's you. What happened was used to go back and it used to be such an assault on my ears because it was really noisy. You know, the city life was really, oh, blimey. I used to can't wait, like yourself, couldn't wait to get back to the quiet of the countryside.
It's quite overwhelming after you're not used to it again. I found that when I go to Manchester, or the last time I went to Manchester, everything's moving so quick, and I know it sounds silly, but what is the buses? There were so many buses I've never seen, you know, and in San Miguel you've got one bus every 3 hours, and you know, then I'm waiting for the bus there with my son, and it's like, well, which bus is it? What number is it? There's like, you know, 100 buses coming at me and I don't know what. It was quite strange, but you get out of it, don't you? Just get out of that lifestyle.
Of that, yeah.
And then, of course, you moved to Spain, which is it quieter in Quesada than it was in the village you lived in, or is it a bit livelier?
Yeah, definitely, it's much quieter. Yeah, I mean, everything isn't on your door. I mean, the main high street was probably half a mile walk, you know, back in England. Here it's about 10 minutes. It's about the same, but they're few and far between, you know. So you have to pick where you're going for what you want. And walk that way, but I find it better. I don't mind it being quiet here.
And of course, you and Bev, you bought through a place in the sun. You were on the place in the sun. What was that experience like?
Still getting that. because they keep saying damn repeats. And we'd be walking, we'd be going to like the supermarket or wherever, and someone would say, I saw you last night on the telly. Was that? Can I ask? Was that you? Yes, it was us. Yeah. Have a little chat with them, and then off we go again.
So, how long have you lived in Spain now? When was that you did?
I think we moved here in 2019, towards the end. Yeah, December 2019.
So it's
so
not
we had
that
a good
long.
year. Oh no, 2019 must have been 28. We had a good year, so we saw what it was all like before pandemic hit.
Right.
And then, so we saw what it was all like, and then the pandemic. Luckily for us, we thought, had we have moved here in the year of the pandemic, we started, you'd have thought, oh, God, this is, what have we come to, you know? But we know what it can be. So
that's right.
We've been here, so it'd be like 3 years now. Yeah, coming up from it.
So it'd be about, that's right. I think that's important. At the end of the day, the way things are at the moment is not how it normally is.
No.
But we have to try and remember that, because of course it's been going on quite a long time now. So
yeah, definitely. A whole year.
Nobody saw that coming, did they? It's
no,
quite strange,
when they
really.
did the very first lockdown, everyone thought, oh, they've done it for 2 weeks. It might be another 2 weeks. And then that 2 weeks rolled into 12 weeks and so forth and so on.
It seems mad now that we thought it could only be 2 weeks, but because this time last year, of course, this is coming up to the end of February, we were just hearing bits and pieces, weren't we, about this
That's right, yeah.
virus, but we were thinking, oh, it's miles away from us. It didn't really feel like it affected us.
No, it was, I think this time, as you said, this time last year, it was in Italy. We think, oh, it's over the Med. Yeah. We've still got a ways to go yet. And then, of course, all of a sudden that all kind of changed. So
yeah, and then it all happened quite quickly. But anyway, we're seeing a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel now, hopefully. But we'll talk about that later, about how we're coping with COVID. So what do you think are the positives of living or holidaying in Spain? Well, living for you in your case.
Obviously, the first thing is the weather. That's everyone's main concern. Although we said that this winter, this last winter here, I think we're still in winter, I'm not too sure. It was quite cold.
January was cold, wasn't
January
it? After Christmas,
was very kind of bitter.
Very cold, yeah. Unusually cold, probably. And then we had a lot of rain as well, didn't we? We had a lot of rain in January.
Yeah.
We
didn't have any Gossifrias like the year before.
Oh,
as such where we were.
No.
There were rainstorms. It was just a little bit more windy and a little bit colder. It was just,
it was
a bit of a surprise.
But it's not too bad now. It's good now.
No, it's brightening up day by day. And the days are getting longer,
it's only the 15th of February, so
I know. When you think
we forget, don't we?
I speak to my mum regularly, and she says, "Oh, I'm getting a man to sweep the snow away from my front garden because it's piled up high, So wow. So yeah, we are lucky in that respect.
Paul, is she in London, your mum?
She's in northwest London as well. Not as near to Wembley as I was, but she's in that part of town.
Because the weather, has been absolutely awful in the UK, and I think you forget. There's things I've forgot, like I can't remember the last time I had to scrape down the windscreen of my car with a card. Like you used to do that in the morning, scraping it down. Or the last time when you're hanging the washing out and your fingers are so cold that you feel like you're freezing. So these are things you do sort of forget, just silly things. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at something here on the side.
Okay.
And
sorry. And what are the negatives? What are the negatives do you think about living in Spain?
Negatives. Oh, I mean, they're few and far between, as far as I can see. The bureaucracy, the paperwork that you have to go through to get certain things done, that does weigh on you after a while. Running about here with a different bit of paper to take to that department, to take it to that department, to go back to the first guy who then signs it and rubber stamps it. We found that when we was trying to do our residencia, backwards and forwards, driving licenses, changing that over backwards and forwards to this place and that place, and you end up back at the very first office.
That's right. Yeah, it does feel like that.
To me, that is probably the only drawback. it does
Yeah.
take a bit of time.
But you know,
But
that's
having said
right.
that, it is, once it's done, it's done.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no go
Once
back.
it's done, it's done. And I think people forget that, like, we think, oh, we don't need all this in the UK, but you would if you were a foreigner. You know,
Yeah. Oh
you
God,
would
yes.
need to do those things. Many, you know, I've been, you know, had friends that weren't sort of British nationals, and they have to. And what year? I mean, it was years ago, but we had to go. I went with one of my friends. We had to go to London from Manchester because there weren't local offices. You know, so you have to travel down to London to do all the immigration stuff.
Yeah, down to
You
Petit
probably do a
France and
lot of
all
it
that.
online now, but so yeah, I think we have the same red tape, if you like, in the UK, but of course we don't have to do it because we're British, so that's the difference. But yeah, I mean, it did get easier for a while, and now, of course, because of Brexit, it's all got difficult again. But there was a time when I first came here, it was more or less like it is now, a lot of faffing about to get all your things organised. And then it went through a stage where it got easier and easier, you know, more or less all you really needed was your passport, you know, and you got your residencia, and now it's gone, unfortunately, a bit back to the other way again. So.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the people who didn't get their paperwork in order. They got popped over and they didn't get it, because they are just going to have to wait. And apparently we didn't come over with a great deal of money in the bank, but there were regular transfers and they were fine with that. But now I think they need something like 15,000 a person, or something ridiculous that, you know, that has to be in the bank before they can do anything.
I know, and it's quite. I'm not really sure why. Because
I don't know
claim
how much,
any
but it's a lot
benefits
more
anyway.
than
You know,
we
it's not
had.
as if they'd have to support you, because if you didn't have any money here in Spain, you wouldn't get any benefits. So I don't really know what the reason is for that, but I understand the health thing, because they don't want people being a bit, because the UK has always been really difficult about the exchange of healthcare.
Yeah.
And people blame Spain, but it's not Spain, it's Britain that's always been awkward. So I understand you know, that people have to get their private health unless they're actually doing, you know, paying into the health system. But I don't really understand why they have to have 15,000 euros. But that's the way it is. That's the rules. It could get worse before it gets better.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were looking at Australia it's a long while ago, and there that was a similar thing. You had to give the government $30,000, and be prepared to leave that with the government for 3 years, just to show you weren't there to scrounge on the system. You get it back after 3 years. Plus, you had to have somewhere to live, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we would live with her brother. But we decided against that in the end anyways.
No. Yeah. Do you regret that, or are you glad that you came to Spain rather than Australia?
No, coming to Spain was a much better idea. Obviously, still got family back in the UK. And it's a short hop. It's 4 hours, door to door. We're, funny enough, when we were living in Wadhurst in East Sussex, it was 4 hours from Wadhurst to London to get, you know, you're driving along the road. It was a terrible.
Exactly. It takes
but yeah,
longer.
4 hours from here was Australia. It's a whole day, you know, travel. So the benefits of living in Spain.
I think so. Yeah, sort of being close to home, but in a nice, got the nice weather, etc. I think, Spain will always be popular with British people, no matter what, I think.
Yeah.
So, what did you do when you were in the UK, Paul?
My first proper paid job, I was a musician. So I was paid. Proper paid up bona fide musician. Did that for about 6-7 years.
Right.
As properly done. And then after that, I was a plasterer. So yes, which
do you play any instruments?
I play keyboards, piano, and so forth. So I've got my little studio here that I still just mess about in and do stuff.
Yeah.
But
so do you still do any sort of events, musical events?
Well, we had a little band going, but obviously that was one of the first things that got, you know, no live music. So it's on the back burner. I'm still in contact with the guys. We're just waiting to see, you know, how that goes, and then we'll just get back together. If they start allowing music again, everybody will be fine.
It must be so difficult for musicians. I mean, how are they surviving?
Oh
like,
gosh, yes, because most of them were paid cash in hand by the you know, by the bar, which the government has clamped down on. So there's no more of that. You have to be a fully paid up member now, you know, paying your taxes. So a lot of them have fallen by the wayside. They can't afford to do that.
I mean, that's fair enough, I suppose. But the thing is, even if they are fully paid up members, they can't do it at the moment. So it must be very difficult for them.
It is extremely. And a few of them I know, they're gardening, whatever, painting, whatever they can do.
You've got to be a jack of all trades in Spain
at the moment. Yeah. Well, luckily I bought some of my plastering tools with me, just to do bits around the house. But some people have found out I'm a plasterer, and us Brits, they don't like the bobbly walls inside. They like them smooth. So I get the odd job doing that.
Oh, that's good. Keeps you out of trouble.
Keeps me off the streets, Vicky. Keeps me off the streets.
Yeah. Okay. And how long have you got? You've not been here that long. So how long have you studied Spanish, sort of generally?
Well, came to Spain when I was 14, so many years ago. That was just a holiday with my family. And then an ex-girlfriend of mine, she was fluent Spanish. And so we used to come to Spain quite a lot. And I was trying to pick it up. So that was in about the year 2000. But I couldn't get my head around it, you know. So anyways, so that was a short period of trying to do Spanish. From when we moved here this time, obviously we thought, you're going to have to learn Spanish in order to get by. So 3 years now, it's been solid, starting with yourselves first when we came to your
That's right.
Workshop,
I remember when you and both came for classes here. And did you enjoy, I mean, what did you find good about the particular method here?
I enjoyed the fact that you and Liz being a Spanish lady, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
Although she could speak English, she wouldn't necessarily want to speak
she hates
English.
Speaking English. She hates it.
I know she would give you the questions and answers if you need the answers in Spanish, which was great. Really think about it. And we used to come to you for, okay, what did she just say? And you go, all right, this is what she's trying to put over to you about the verbs and so forth and so on, you know. So I enjoyed that part. It was good. And it was small classes. We all got individual tutorage, as it were, which was nice. That was good. Good comfort to us all.
And when do you think you need Spanish? What's the times you've found you've been glad that you've at least learned some Spanish? When are times that, because obviously,
obviously when you're in a restaurant, in a bar, obviously my first phrase was "Quiero la cuenta, por favor." I want to pay the bill. So that was my first one that I learned. But it comes in handy. Where's the bathroom? Where is anything? What's the time? If you're out somewhere and about, you want to know something like that. Where's the just general asking, just general questions to everyone.
Of course, you and Bev together, like if you have to ask anything or do anything, I mean, you know, I'm thinking of like, have you ever needed it in a situation like maybe your car's broken down, or you know, and maybe you've not been fluent in speaking to them, but at least you've been able to get over what you want to say.
Oh no, that does happen. I mean, we've got our local consume. There are other supermarkets available, but we've got our local consume that we go to, and there's 3 or 4 people who work in there who will just, they realise when we go in there, we ask for anything, they'll say okay, and they'll reply to us in Spanish. They can speak English as well, and it's good because they teach us stuff, and they'll speak slowly, which is good. I mean, I used to go into the ferreteria, and there's an English guy in there, and there's a few Spanish guys. They all speak Spanish as well, obviously. But after I went in there for about 3 or 4 times, they said, "You, no more English. You come in, you have to ask for
I love
anything
those
in
people.
Spanish."
It's so much better that
It's,
somebody will not speak English to you, because
yeah, so much
unless
so.
you're absolutely strapped and you need help or whatever, but because if people, what's so frustrating, even to me, they do it, you know, I'll go and I'll say something in Spanish, and obviously they can tell I'm not Spanish immediately, and they answer me in English, and I just keep on in Spanish, because I think, no, because I want you to speak Spanish to my students.
Exactly.
You know? I want you to speak, if somebody speaks to you in Spanish, because then they can't complain that people aren't trying to learn Spanish.
No, we always do try. And we're looking forward to the times when we have to go to regions like over east of Spain, where there are no English speaking.
Yes,
you
exactly.
have to have a modicum of Spanish.
Yeah.
So we
That's
do
right.
like
It's
to
where
practice.
we live, isn't it?
Practica is what you say to us.
Yeah.
And we do as much as we can.
Yeah.
It's
Because
obviously it's a bit harder living
in this area, it is
That's what I was
actually
about to say.
difficult sometimes to speak Spanish. It's
Yeah,
crazy, really.
there's a lot of people, and a lot of shops are English owned, and they don't want to. But I just think, no, just give it a go. I'm in Spain, when in Rome, etc., etc. So yeah, we enjoy trying. And the good thing about the Spanish is that they're not hard on you if you don't speak it properly.
No,
not in England. In England,
right.
they're very, oh God, can you not speak the language? Doesn't matter with you. But here, they will take their time.
Yeah.
And try and break it down as much as possible.
That's right. I think they're very helpful, you know, and what you just said, in France, it's the same. You go to France, unless you say it perfectly, they don't want to know. So, whereas in Spain, they're sort of, you know, they give you they'll at least give you the patience and sort. Most of them. I mean, you get the odd one, of course, you're always going to get that. But I think in general, yeah, they like it when you try and speak to them in Spanish, you know.
Yeah.
And they enjoy the sort of banter side of it as well. You can
probably
neither of you understand what each other's saying, but at least you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I went into the pharmacia the other day, and I wanted some cream, some oil for my hair, and all I could say was, "Tienes una crema por mi cabeza?" And she kind of got what, and she said this. I went, that's perfect. And I felt really chuffed about that, because it's not someone I've spoken to before, and she got what, I mean, she answered me in English, "This is what you want." But I said, it was great that she kind of understood where I was coming from. So even little things like that, they just make you feel good. Not totally Spanish, but you're getting there. You know, you can communicate with people, which is so much nicer.
And what, when you've been to classes, and I know you've done some other classes as well, what's the thing that you enjoy the most about learning Spanish?
I think it's the ease of saying the words and writing them, because it's as it's written. That's how it is, apart from the double L's, which, you know.
But once you learn that's right. The pronunciation in Spanish is phonetic. It's uniform.
Yeah,
so once you learn how to pronounce, you can always pronounce. So that's good. Yeah, that's a good example. And what's the most difficult or unenjoyable thing you found about Spanish?
Verbs. Well, they're not that bad.
No.
It wouldn't be so bad if every verb ended in AR or IR. And then they and that one, ser, that they just do that on purpose, because that just changes every time. The spelling changes, everything about it changes all the way through. I'm trying to do, I used to play football as a kid, and that changes constantly, you know. I think, but the funny thing is, if you keep going at
the Alibaba, if it's an AR verb, it's the abas, like, so I used to play Hugaba, or as long as it's an AR verb. But anyway, that's the, but the verbs, the tenses, the different endings are
Yeah.
a little bit difficult for us because in English our verbs don't change really much.
No, yeah. He
So,
said, she said, we said. It just stays the same all the way through.
exactly,
That's it. But I mean, it does sink in. You know, I mean, if you just keep going at it, it does sink in. So the AR verbs, I wouldn't say I know them all, but I can easily get past with them type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just as it gets a little bit more past tense, future tense, it changes a little bit. You just have to learn them. But you do find that I wake up in the morning and it's sunk in. It's strange, but some bit has sunk in. And you just think, oh, yeah, move on with my day now. This is going great.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, really, you've not been here that long. Then also, you and Bev, I know you did start classes more or less straight away, which is good because you know, lots of people live here quite a long time and never bother learning any Spanish. But you know, to me, I know that not everybody will become fluent, but the thing is, I think it's almost a duty, really, that you should try and learn some when you of the language of the country that you live in.
Well, yeah, or either that, or you're going to be stuck in places like Casada, and you're not going to get out and see much of the
Can't
place,
go
really, are
anywhere
you?
else. That's right.
You
A lot
can't
of
really go
people,
anywhere else that's
a
going to
lot
be
of
Spanish
people
speaking.
don't.
And when they talk about going over to the Basque Country and all the lovely views and what have you, you'll just be lost.
Yeah,
It's just a little bit. It's almost selfish just to think that
I
everyone
agree.
should
To
speak
me, it's
English.
like, so if you don't speak Spanish, this is your experience in Spain. But if you
Yeah,
learn some Spanish, it just grows because you know, your
exactly.
whole experience will grow because you can
Yeah.
understand. And yeah, lots of people don't move out of their little enclaves. They never. For example, you know, if I always ask, as you know, I'll ask students on a Monday, oh, ¿has hablado español? You know, have you spoken any Spanish? And they go, no. And then when I ask them where they've been to the, I don't know, all these English bars, British bars.
Yeah, we went
And
to the bar. We
they've
went
not
to the
been
bank.
anywhere Spanish except for Leroy Merlin or so. Sometimes they get a chance to speak Spanish. So I think, well, you know, if you don't go to Spanish bars or try and go to, you know, you're never going to speak it, you know.
We know people who not living too far from us. They've been here 15 years and they don't speak any Spanish. They don't eat any Spanish food.
Oh, yeah.
Why did you move to Spain? Obviously, just for the weather.
Just for the weather.
It's just
Nothing
pointless.
else. I know.
It's just pointless, really.
I had a student once who had never been anywhere except an English supermarket. He lived here quite a long time. He never ended up learning Spanish or even keeping up with his classes. But he literally, in the 10 years or so he'd lived here, he'd never been to a Spanish supermarket.
Crazy.
I mean, why is that? But anyway, everyone's different, I suppose. But like you say, to me, what's the point of going to live in Spain if you want to go to a British supermarket all the time? I mean, we all go sometimes. We like our little things that we miss. But you know, if that's all you do, why come to Spain?
Why are you here for that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite odd, really.
Mad.
So, what advice would you give to students or anyone who is trying to learn Spanish? What advice would you give?
What would I say is practica. Just practice all the time. Any spare moment you can, just practice. Writing, speaking to someone, even if you have to speak slowly and they'll answer you slowly. But you have to communicate with everybody, or the people who you're doing stuff with. And the way I got over it, the way I still do actually, is I've got Netflix, and obviously during lockdown, that's probably all everyone did. And I'll watch Spanish film with English subtitles. It makes the film pretty boring because I have to keep start reading what they just said. But I also do the other way around, a film that I know in English and have Spanish subtitles.
Good. That's
so
a good
it
idea,
works both ways. So it is practice.
Do you and Bev practice a lot together, or?
Yeah, we're always pulling each other up about. Oh no, it's not like that, you know.
I can imagine, yeah.
So, but no, it is good. We do practice, and when we're going out, we went to, like you say, Leroy Merlin the other day. I can't remember what we had to get, a rack or something, and between us, we were able to give the girl enough information. She went, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Mira, okay, look over there." So it was great.
Good, yeah, good. So you're still practicing.
Yeah. Every day I mean, 15-20 minutes every day is quite good.
It's very good. That's excellent. Yeah.
Even that, you know, if you do a page, try and write it down. Any phrase you remember, try and write it down and compare to what it should be, and speak a little bit as well. Speaking, I find when I'm talking to someone, I do find it tricky because I know what I wanted to say, but I've got to translate in my head first before I can say it to them.
It's not easy.
And it's a little bit slow, but I mean, obviously that will come in time because.
Well, that's right. You're doing well because, of course, during the lockdown, it's not easy to get out and speak to people just because, you know, you're not supposed to be socializing and things like that. So we're a bit limited to how we can get out and speak Spanish. But yeah, so you're doing well. And yeah, 15 minutes a day is perfect. You know, you don't have to sit down for 4 hours, and, you know, it's better to, because just do what you feel comfortable with, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's better. And,
sometimes we do go mad into an hour, maybe, you know, but on the whole, it's literally about 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it tends to sink in. There's no brain leakage. I'm not taking it in that side. It's you know, gone out that side. I've taken in that 15 minutes. To me, that's a good nugget.
It's a quality 15 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
Little and often, like everything. But what, Paul, is one thing that you would say is essential to live in Spain?
What one thing?
If you could think of one thing that you think everybody needs to either do, have, just one thing that you think is the most important thing to you to help you with life in Spain.
I think it's just got to be the language.
Yeah.
It's got to be the language. I mean, I was doing some work for some friends. They lived in Busot, which is about an hour from where I am. And driving over there, I had the radio on. I thought, you know what, let me put on, and I found a station that was just local, and it was a Spanish station. And I couldn't pick up everything they were saying. It was like a talk radio station. I couldn't pick up everything they were saying, but I was able to. They were giving out the date, and they were giving out the latest coronavirus figures, and I was able to pick all that up. Not all of it, not the whole, you know, thing, but I was able to glean exactly what they were talking about all the way through. I thought, oh, this is
a lovely feeling, isn't it? I remember that feeling myself when you start to understand things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I understood that.
Yeah.
It's a lovely feeling. Yeah.
So yeah, to learn the language. I mean, you always think they didn't teach Spanish at my school; it's just French. Possibly, if they taught Spanish, I might have taken it up. But it's a beautiful language to learn anyway.
Well, that's right. Just for the pleasure of learning it is a lovely language. Yeah.
Keep my little brain active as well. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's right, and it's good to keep your brain active. Apparently, learning a language helps with preventing dementia and those sort of things.
There you go.
You know, that's been proven, that because your brain is like a muscle, really. So it's like any other muscle.
It needs the exercise.
Part of your body, if you don't use it, you lose it. You know, you have to do something to keep your brain sharp. And learning a language has been proven to be very important with that. So so hopefully, dedos cruzados, fingers crossed, no dementia. Let's hope not. And how have you been coping, Paul? What have you been doing? What advice would you give for people to cope with COVID or to cope with the lockdown? How have you been?
I mean, for me, it was a lot easier, obviously, because I had my studio and I could just go in and record stuff and write new songs and do what I had to do. Bev got a couple of hobbies going on.
Yeah.
So, and obviously she's got her radio station.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
she's got a couple of hours there where she can go and mess about in a recording studio and do what she needs to do there. But yeah, she has some hobbies. I think that was the main thing, just keeping yourself busy. Hobbies. We did a little bit more in the garden, so forth and so on. But yeah, just keeping in contact with friends over the phone, really. Little Zoom meetings like this.
Yeah, I think that's been a positive thing about it, is that I think me personally, I've definitely spoken to friends and family more on the phone
and
Zoom.
a lot more of them.
And a lot more of them, and not just message. Normally it's messages, isn't it? And so there's been a lot more of that. That's been quite nice, actually.
Yeah.
And because you've got more time, you know, you've got time to do those things.
Well, when you go through your phone and you see, oh God, I haven't spoken to that person for a while. Let me just text them and see, you know, what's going on. You know, it shows that you're thinking about them, and obviously they'll be doing the same to others as well. So
yeah,
that's the
and
positive
a couple of old friends found me on Facebook. You know, people I've not seen for years that obviously were bored one day and thought, oh, let's see. And so it's been nice to reunite, you know, really good friends from the past, from years ago. So it's been nice to sort of, so it's not all been negative, I suppose. You know, we've got
I mean, we've got, like you said, we've got a group that started up from my old school friends that were in my year at school, you know, on Facebook, obviously. And now we've got a kind of regular drop them a message and what have you, the odd joke, as you do as lads. So, but yeah, it's made you catch up with people. It kind of focused what it's all about, really.
Made you see what's really important. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. And what will you do? What are you looking forward to doing when lockdown finishes?
When it totally finishes, I would say not wearing a mask, but I'm still not too sure about that. I still might wear my mask out here. But I mean, I think it'll just be going out and socialising with people again.
That's right, just
in whatever size group the government determines. I'll be quite happy to do that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I hate wearing the mask, but I do feel that the masks have helped in Spain. I know we've still got a lot of cases, but we've got half the number of the UK. We've had half the number of deaths as the UK. And I do think that's something to do with the mask wearing.
Oh, without a doubt. It
although it's unpleasant, nobody likes it, do they? But, you know, I always think...
Well, in a strange way, Vicky, I've kind of got used to it. Yeah, we're going out the door, keys, wallet, glasses, my mask. It's part of me ritual at the moment.
Exactly, like it's normally, have I got my mobile, have I got my keys, and possibly your sunglasses or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's on your mask as well.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And also, I would like to be looking forward to traveling Spain now. So we can go over to Granada. I'd love to take Bev to Granada. I've already been, but I'd like to take Bev to Granada.
So
just to see Spain now. Come out of our region, which is quite big.
Yeah.
Valencia is quite big. And we've kind of covered it as best as. But it would be nice now to say, come on, let's go a little bit further abroad and stay over maybe a weekend.
Quite a few times. It's one of my favourite places in Spain. So beautiful. There's so much to see there. It really is lovely. So yeah, well, hopefully that won't be too long. Everything seems to be going in the right direction. That's the most important thing. And then when the vaccine finally rolls out, of course, it's a bit slow in Spain, but Spain's always a little bit slower with things. But
I think it's here this Friday. Well, it's coming to this region on Friday. Obviously, my age group is not. We're not priority, so it's going to be all healthcare workers and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's here, and we'll just stay safe anyway. Everyone's just staying safe as.
Well, that's right. We won't be able to just go off and do what we want once it comes, but it's coming. So yeah, there's a light on the end of a tunnel, isn't there? There's
definitely
on the horizon.
Brilliant.
Oh, okay. Well, muchas gracias, Pablo,
for
sharing your experiences with us. It's so nice to see you again. I'm Bev. I miss Bev so much because, of course, Bev was helping me out a little bit here, but. Hopefully one day it'll all get back to normal again.
So can I ask, how are you doing on are you doing just Zoom meetings with clients, students?
Well, I wasn't, because of course they let us start doing classes again. It was September, I started again, and that was good. But you're only allowed so many people in the classroom. But first it was okay because you were allowed 8. So that was okay with the students and me and Liz, the teachers. I could have 6 students. Then, of course, at Christmas, they're restricted after Christmas, and you could only have 4. So it's been, the fluctuation's been a bit difficult.
Yeah, that's going to be awkward for you.
And at the moment, I'm not doing classroom classes, but they'll start again on the 1st of March. People are chomping at the bit. I think, you know, this is what I've said, people to just want to do something. You know, it's like they've been sort of locked down and not doing much. So, you know, the March course is really big. Well, it's full now, so they don't extend it. I don't think they will. And I have been doing Zoom classes in the afternoon, so they've been my salvation. You know, as from a business point of view, that at least I can do online classes. You know, otherwise, especially the big lockdown last year, it would have been well, it was a nightmare, but it would have been an even bigger nightmare.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I count myself very lucky that I can do some work. I feel so much for the bars and restaurants and those types of businesses. I just don't think they're going to, I think a lot of them are just never going to open again. Oh, there you go. Pablo's iPad must have gone. So thank you, Pablo, and I'll see you in the next video. I've got to find the stop button.